hello, my dear. Our little Bennet is asleep under the tree over there. I believe he has climbed every tree in the park this morning. I didn't stop him, though he became quite filthy. I consider it prudent to let him expend as much energy out of doors to reduce breakage indoors. My dear, you have dirt on your face. I suspect that you stopped to pull a few weeds as you walked back from Rosings Park. I thought as much. And how is Lady Catherine today, my dear? One of her bad days. Well, at least in her increasingly demented state, she is easier to bear and to manage than the way Lizzie described her all those years ago. And now that Lady Catherine is confined to her bedchamber, she is the one who is in nobody's way in that part of the house. I am not subjected to the housekeeper's room. I play the pianoforte in the drawing room. I don't blame Anne for moving away as soon as she got married, though her husband's house is smaller. Her mother had such a hold on her, and she knows we are here to look after things, so she needn't worry about Rosings Park. Well, I have had a letter today, my dear, from Mamma. It is long and rambling as usual, and full of talk about her nerves, but the long and short of it is, she is inviting us to a visit at Longbourn this summer. Well, I say visit, it's really more of a summons. Things certainly have changed. My family used to completely disregard me, and to be sure Lizzie still does, but ever since the birth of our little Bennet Collins, Mamma has made a complete turnaround. No one ever thought that I would be the one to achieve keeping Longbourn in the family. Oh, of course you are family, my dear, but you know what I mean. After all the fuss, the Bennet is to inherit Longbourn. Even you yourself, my dear, quite overlooked me when you visited us all those years ago. If you had bothered to pay attention, you would have seen that while Lizzie was treating you with such disdain, I myself was observing you closely. And I liked what I saw, my dear. I do not understand why the others do not see what I see in you. But then I used to act so pretentious. I have been reading some of my old journal entries, my dear. Listen to this. Oh, ridiculous. Every impulse of feeling should be guided by reason, and in my opinion, exertion should always be in proportion to what is required. Ridiculous. What was I talking about? What idea had I of any impulse of feeling? Oh, here's another. We must stem the tide of malice and pour into the wounded bosoms of each other the balm of sisterly consolation. Well, sisterly distance has been the best thing for our family. Here's another. Pride is a very common failing, I believe. By all that I have ever read, I am convinced that it is very common indeed, that human nature is particularly prone to it, and that there are very few of us who do not cherish a feeling of self-complacency on the score of some quality or other, real or imaginary. Vanity and pride are different things, though the words are often used synonymously. A person may be proud without being vain. Pride relates more to our opinion of ourselves, vanity to what we would have others think of us. Well, that last one is still true. I'll tell you the truth, my dear. All of that, the writing of extracts, the quoting of great quotes, it was to set me apart from my sisters. Let us be honest. Every last one of them is more beautiful, more charming than I. I thought the only way to be significant was to seem more intelligent than the rest. I'm afraid I failed in that respect as well. It only became ridiculous. And then, as my sisters began to marry and leave home one by one, and I was the only one left, and the years stretched on one after the other, I began to lose hope of ever finding happiness. But then, when your poor dear Charlotte died of that fever, without ever having given you a single child, I saw my future open up ahead of me. I said to Mamma, "Let us go and visit Mr. Collins." She said to me, "Mary, why on earth would we go and visit that insufferable—" Well, never mind, my dear. Anyway, then she looked at me, and she saw the light in my eyes. Then I saw that light reflected back at me, and for the first time in my life, Mamma and I understood one another. So we came to visit you, my dear. You were so lonely and lost. You just needed someone to care for you and understand you. And now here we are. Our first child is strong and healthy. And, God willing, our second child as well. Yes, my dear, our second child. Oh, do not fuss, my dear. I feel perfectly well. Yes, I am pleased too. Well, what do you say, my dear? Shall we go and visit my family this summer?